Helen Dalton, the member for Murray, your phone's ringing off the hook. Was it something you said?
Yeah, I think so. I think something I said and something I did. But anyway, we're here, so happy to have a chat.
Yeah, look, we thought we'd get in touch with you. We put a story up on flownews24.com.au last night when you announced on Thursday evening that you were leaving the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party. Why?
Look, I think last week was a fairly telltale sign that I should go. So Robert Borsak told me that he'd support the disallowance for floodplain harvesting motion, and that was something that was in the upper house, and they abstained from voting, which is what it did do was really let down the people of the Lower Darling and the communities there, and also the Murray River irrigators. So I just felt that was the last straw, and that that I was sort of tired of the contradictory, inconsistent policies that the SFF party had.
Well,
and
you called their actions at that time. When we spoke last Friday, you said it was a cowardly act voting the way they did. I'm sure they weren't going to take those comments laying down. You had some internal conversations with them that didn't resolve your impasse.
No, well, they never bothered to contact me or even explain themselves, so I kind of weighed up my options throughout the week, and I thought that it was crunch time, and that was really the last straw. I'll always put my electorate first, and I've always been critical of National Party MPs for towing the party line. I believe that politics is for the people rather than for a party. So I thought I'm best placed to serve the people of the electorate as an independent. And really I've been, in many regards, acting as an independent, although I've certainly had to toe the line on certain issues, which has really, hasn't sat well with me. So now, being uncoupled from the SFF, I can really advocate very, very strongly on all those issues, and I will be speaking out louder about certain things than what I have done.
Now, I'll come back to those topics in a minute, but we'd spoken quite regularly, and you were quite open about your interest in possibly running for federal politics in Farrer, partly because it's got a decent overlap with your own electorate, so you'd be representing many of your own same voters. But, the Shooters in their statement they put out last night said you'd wasted time outside the electorate on concerns not of interest to your voters. I gather they're talking about the Great Barrier Reef commentary, maybe about Susan Lee's record.
Oh, maybe, but I think that was a load of rubbish. I mean, I've certainly talked to about Susan Lee's environmental acumen, and I talk about the platypus and in the Murray. I certainly talk about the amount of money that they've spent on the Barrier Reef, which with very poor outcomes. And I think that's my right as an MP to be able to highlight those things. And to be honest, I haven't spent that much time at it. I've been really buried in the water debate here, in health, education, digital connectivity and infrastructure. I think it's kind of almost an absurd comment in a way.
Well, I've got to put this... Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I've got to put this other one to you from the Shooters in their statement. They said you're doing hidden deals with Justin Fields and the Greens Party over environmental water into South Australia. What's your response to that?
Absolute rubbish. I've never read such a distorted creative writing piece. And it just shows really that the party doesn't understand water. And I just think it's just absurd.
Do you support the 450 gigalitres going to South Australia under the Basin Plan, the additional to the 2750?
Absolutely not. And I've never been backward in saying that. Absolutely not.
Because that's what I find odd is I thought that would be your position, and I wondered, well, what environmental water flows are they talking about you signing off to go down to South Australia?
I think they've, been in a dream world. I can't imagine what they're talking about. And it just, as I said, it just shows the limited knowledge that they have had. I mean, Robert Borsak has even told me he doesn't know much about water. So there you go. Now, I think that they just want to get down and dirty. And I knew, it's a big decision to leave the party. And I was hoping that I could just leave amicably and hope that they would, do the same. But it really doesn't surprise me that they put out some media rubbish, and all I want to do is do the best I can for the electorate, and I'll continue to do so.
Yeah, well, just on the waterfront there, I've got to put these comments to you because they've made these claims about your own maybe links to water trading activity, and what have you got they're suggesting inconsistencies with your own farming and water trading activities. Is there something? What are they getting at there?
Look. I've always been upfront about water transparency around trading and transparency about water ownership, and I'll never take a backward step from that. There, I can see as a farmer, and farmers do trade water. I'm not against that at all, but a lot of the regulations around water trading are not tight enough, and I've never ever taken a backward step in saying that, because as a farmer, I can see how it's impacting on rural, remote communities with some of these, or lack of transparency around all of these things.
Yeah, what I recall from our conversation about it previously is that people use a water dealer or a trader, and you get them to find a home for where you're trying to sell the water, and you don't necessarily have a say in where it lands.
No, you don't. You don't. It's like an auction, a silent, or not. You put your water up, people bid online, or they go off and the brokers do a deal with somebody. You have no idea. That needs to stop. The first thing that we need to do is to have a transparent water register, and I'm about to put another water register bill up, and we need to take on the recommendations of the ACCC and put it around some of the rules around water trading, because at the moment it's like a casino. Speculators making a lot of money out of water, and it is at the detriment of our communities, and that needs to stop.
Now, Helen, just lastly, you mentioned there were some topics you felt you couldn't be an advocate on because you had to toe the party line for shooters, fishers and farmers. What's an example of something you'd like to be a bit stronger on?
Well, the floodplain harvesting issue, I've had to toe the line on many aspects of that. I'm tired of tiptoeing around the issue. We need to resolve this issue, and we need to get a better deal for the communities in the lower Darling and for Murray River irrigators. And I will continue to advocate very, very strongly, far more stronger than what I have been. I'll also think that being the SFF party has held me back on many issues, and I will be heading, when I get back down to Sydney next sitting week, I will be heading towards Dom Perrottet's office and saying, we need to make these changes, and we need to make them now. So I've been chaperoned enough by the party. I need to advocate very, very strongly for the seat of Murray, and I think that doors will open for me, and that Dom Perrottet will welcome me with open arms. Given now, too, there will be another by-election in the seat of Holsworthy that's held by the Coalition, and it's a very marginal seat. And I think the odds on that Labor may win, which will change the numbers again. And Dom Perrottet will need more friends, and that friend will be me. And I will be advocating very, very strongly for Murray, particularly with water, health and education, digital connectivity and infrastructure.
Well, Helen, your phone's ringing off the hook, so is mine. Thanks for your time today, and we'll watch with great interest how you go in Sydney next time.
No, thanks so much for your interest.